some sampling of painty paper on the table. And we're talking about painty papers because in my group, as well as in Lisa at my Eclectic Life, she's joining in too for those that aren't members of my group, but are members of her group that would like to participate as well. Now, keep in mind, if you join in on the Painty Paper Fun, Lisa's group may have additional guidelines that my group does not have, okay? I think she wants to do hers more like an, swap one-on-one, whereas mine is I just want everybody to gift as many people as they want to. It's not a mandatory that you gift everybody in the group painty papers, but if you get some from somebody, it would be nice to reciprocate. Not necessary, but it would be nice. So I just want to share friendship with no commitment. Does that make sense? And let's see, I've got Dawn at Dawn's Crafty Room, Janet, Susan Baker, Judy, Joyce, Danny. And Rose says she'll be here, but she's going to be tardy. So there's Kendra. And Kendra, I think I'm pretty sure your journal is the one here. Let me look at my chart real quick. I'm pretty sure I have your journal. Yes. And so that means when I get done with it, it'll come home to you. You're fine. You're not late at all. I'm early. I am perpetually early. And I'll tell you all why. I always come on 5 minutes before my time. When I was growing up, we all went to a little country church, and my uncle would have us 10 to 15 minutes late every Sunday. So, when you're late for church and it's a little country church, what happens when you walk in is everything stops until you've sat down. Talk about embarrassing. So I vowed from then on I would never be late. So I'm never late. Or I try very hard not to be. And when I am, I feel tremendously guilty because I broke my own rule. So anyway, that's it. Oh, that's really weird, Pearl. Does anybody know how to fix that? Pearl, let us know if you have any trouble, and maybe somebody can help you. Yeah, I'm always early. I'd rather sit and wait in a waiting room an additional 5 or 10 minutes than to be late anywhere. She'll get it fixed. She needs to zoom out. Okay. It's a keystroke thing, something and something. Oh, somebody said hit escape. Susan did. I think I wrote that down, Lisa, that you were going to mail today. Let me make sure I wrote it down. You said mine and Sharon's. Yeah, I wrote you down 7/24. And I've mailed the round robins I had off for the quilting group I'm in. So I'm good to go. Do control and the minus sign, Tasha. And Susan said, if that doesn't work, hit F11. Default view. Okay. I didn't need to keep my my testing thing here. I'll move that out of our way. Okay, she's got it. Yay! And your name's Tasha, and I'll quit calling you Pearl. So, oh, it's warm in here. We turned the air conditioners off at about 5 a.m. and I didn't get them clicked back on, soon enough, so the humidity level rose a bit. Scott had to be into work early again today. Golly, it was after midnight when he got home last night. So I hope that's not another thing. So let's talk painty papers. These are some I did in the past. Just a variety. Some have a really heavy texture to them because I used a printer's ink that I got on clearance at Michael's. And some of these I've used part of them, but these are just ones I had done. These are done on a little bit heavier paper that I had left over from another project, and I just printed on them. But you can get different results. These are done on just copier paper. Printer paper for copies. I got this at the thrift store for $1.79, and I still have a good bit I can play with here. So let's go over types of papers first. I want everybody to keep in mind these papers, the whole idea, at least for mine. Now, if you're joining in over on Lisa's, it might be a little different. Y'all might just do a swap just for Painty papers, but I'll tell that you can use. But my idea for them is when you get them, and I would like it if we could at least do the 8.5 by 11. So the size is 8.5 by 11. And the reason I'm saying that is when they get to your gifted people, your rack people, I want everybody to be able to fold them in half and have a little book this size. The whole idea for this came from Mary's scribble book that she takes out in the porch just to jot down ideas and stuff. So if we do 8.5 by 11, that'll give us the 8.5 by 5.5 wide. And I think that would make a nice little book. We could almost, if we did 8 pieces to each person, those 8 pieces, you could have a signature for each person that mailed to you if you put just 8 of them together. So I'm going to stack 8 of them together here, just so we can see how thick that would be. And you can do other sizes if you want to, but I just think if we stuck with 8.5 by 11 or something that will fit within that range, say something that you can make sure you can hit, like if we did 3 stitch points, like this one would probably work too, because you could put it down toward the bottom and you could catch it in your stitching at your bottom and your center, and then this would not have another hole in it up here, but you'd have a short little page. But that's up to you guys. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So say there's our 8. And from what Janet told me, if you fold them individually, you don't end up with as much of a, what do you call that? When you fold it in half, like the whole stack, you end up with some papers shorter. Janet said if you fold them individually and then put them together, you'll end up where they don't do this as much. But see, I think 8 sheets would make a good signature in a little book. So I'm going to jot down here what we all really like about the things. So I'm thinking let's keep our paper size to the 8.5 by 11 inch paper size. And I had said, let's paint on both sides. And then Mary mentioned that sometimes it's hard to write on the paper. Hi, Barb. Barb, I sent the 2 quilts I finished yesterday on to you, okay? So they're on their way to you. So what I was thinking is, what if we did Painty papers on one side of the paper, and then maybe on the next page do just a Painty border? What do y'all think of that? And then that would leave the center part of it as a place that you could jot down notes. Maybe you could sketch and paint an idea out, or sketch on this side with a marker and then write your ideas on the back. Hi, Sheila. Okay, you can watch this later. All right, Kathy says it takes her about all day to make 8 papers front and back. What about the rest of you gals? And you can start mailing anytime you want, but I was thinking if we waited and mailed out the last 2 weeks of August, it would be like a Painty Paper shower for the last of August. It'd be like our last of the summer hurrah. Okay. Okay, Tanya says if we only do Painty Paper on one side, then people, if they wanted to, they could collage, use them for collage. But see, I had thought about, I'm going to bind mine in a book and actually use them like Mary does for her scribble book. And I would come in and you could almost put gesso over just like if you got the Painty Papers and you wanted to journal in an area, I would just use a stencil of my solid circles and maybe just stencil out an area just so I have some of the pretty paint left on the page. But this is just, that's why I wanted to come on and chit chat with you guys so we could come up with exactly how we would like to do it. Yes, Judy, that's what I'm thinking. If we did a full Painty Paper on this side and then do borders on the back, you could make pretty borders like Mary does. Maybe do like she did on her gel plate and just put paint around the edges and then maybe go back with something and add a design. That would be pretty. Or just down the edge. You know, just down the outer edge, and then you'd have the inside part to write on. Yeah, Lisa's right. Even if you've got paint on both sides, you can still collage with it. And it actually gives you more opportunities. I mean, because you could choose from this side or whatever happens on this side. So maybe we'll just let the choice of whether you do one side, both sides are borders on one side and paint on the other. We can do that just as an individual preference because I want the Painty Papers that I receive to just be part of your art. So whatever you send me, I'd be thrilled with. Yeah, and then another thing I had thought about is I haven't done the back sides of my papers. So this is what I'm thinking. If I do either my printing on my glass cutting board, like I got at the thrift store for less than $2, or I do not have a jelly plate. I have this Creative Palette by Stampendous. It's kind of similar, but it doesn't act totally exactly like a jelly plate, but it still works for me. That's what I did all of these with. But before what did I do with it? Before I do the backs, what if I just took Posties and just put some Post-its down here and there like this? And then put this down on my jelly plate or glass or whatever I'm using. The part where these are, if I was careful when I put it down, that's going to block the paint. So I would have 3 little areas that I could write in and just print it, pull it up, and then pull these off. And then these would be little Painty Papers I could save and use myself as artist trading cards backgrounds or twinchies or whatever, because you could tear this and make it as part of it. But this is just an idea I came up with, and I know we all have Post-its in different sizes. Look at these. These I have are little cats. I don't know if this one's going to work because it tore. But I could do little cat shapes on some of mine, see? And then when I print, I could just peel these off and I could keep these. Or even if you just took, if you didn't have Post-its, if you took and punched out shapes, could be fun. If you have like a square punch, round punch, or whatever. Hi, Mary. Oh, using your phone battery. Ooh, that takes a lot of battery. So that's what I was thinking, and that would create places to put your writing on one side. See, I've got these Post-its, and see if you took and you put 2 of these on each page, you would be painting just little borders around your journaling spots. So you can add journaling spots if you want. If you don't want journaling spots and you just want double-sided Painty papers, you can do that. Like I said, I'm planning to turn mine into a scribble book. So those are just some ideas. So on here, on our list of things, the paper size, 8.5 by 11 paper size, or something that would be close to it. Now, let me show you something else I've got. Sometimes at the thrift store, you look up, and I have these. I could turn these into Painty papers and send them out. And then when the people got them, whoever I send them to got them, you could use these as pages. And if you wanted it to just fit in your book, just trim this piece off and use it as a collage piece. Because I think it would look really cool, like if we stuck it in the middle, to have like a doily here and there. And that could be one of your sheets. Like I said, you would have to trim it so it would fit with the pages. But then when you look through, you'd have this pretty little piece here just as a decorative place. Or a place you could glue something down on that, as long as you glued something on the other side. So doilies are an idea. And I find these at the thrift store all the time. So I've got round ones that I found at the thrift store. I've got some oval ones. This one would work as well. This would fit in there. The only thing is, this one would probably, it's probably going to stick out past. So if I slid that in there, see, it would catch in all the places that you stitch, but it would stick out. But you could trim that off. I've also got great big round ones like this. I find these, like I said, these old-timey ones, I find in the thrift stores here all the time. I even have some rectangular ones. Okay, so you could use that. Instead of copier paper, you could use doilies. Just try to keep your doily size so that it'll fit inside the 8.5 by 11 folded in half. Another thing that you could use, okay, and this would save you some time too, is I've got this book of graph paper. This is a garden plan, I think, or something. But this just pulls out, and it's 8.5 by 11. Yeah, and like, look, Barb's saying if you just folded your doily in half and then folded one end back in, it would just be a tuck flap inside. That would be so much fun to do. Graph paper, if you use graph paper, paint it on one side and then added your posties down and printed again. When you lifted this off, you'd have a rectangle with graph paper on it that could be fun to use. So these are just ideas. I'm just throwing ideas. Make sure you take notes so that any of them that sparks an interest with you, you'll have it. Linda Scott says she's never seen doilies that size. Michael's has all kinds of doilies at the front in the Wilton cake decorating, or they did when I worked there. Another place would be, where else could you get different shaped doilies? I'm thinking any baker supply store. Okay, Kendra says she already racked some folks some 8.5 by 11. So yay! Okay, so graph paper. Now I don't know how this would work. I got this at the thrift store. This is actually larger, but this is really old tracing paper. You can see it's a little yellowed and everything. I think it would be fun to print on this. And when you print it on it, it would give it a little bit more strength. And I'm thinking I could probably cut this in half after printing and just tuck in one of these sheets. That could be an interesting texture. Yeah, cake mats. Yeah, there you go. Another thing I'm always finding at the thrift store is old ledgers. And this one's huge, so I definitely could cut these down. See, if I take this one, I ripped that one, but that's okay. I'll fix it. And see, if I folded this in half, and then we just printed on the back side, then you could just leave this side for journaling, and you'd have all those cool lines. Okay, old maps is a good idea. Rose has a comment about the tracing paper, that it buckles and stuff. So maybe we need to think about a different way to color tracing paper. Has anybody colored tracing paper in any other way that worked out? Like, I know Mary uses those inks. So I don't know if those would work or not. So go outside the box. Don't think about just paper. Think about cake mats. Think about, like, this brown paper would be good too. This comes in a roll to wrap packages. I get this at Michael's with a coupon. I get a big roll of it. I'm almost out. And Lisa E says she loves wrinkles. Send all the wrinkles her way. So some people like the wrinkles. So maybe we could just go ahead and paint some and include it. And if whoever gets them doesn't want to use it, maybe they could regift. Regifting is fine when it comes to art supplies with me. If I've ever sent anything else that you cannot use, feel free to send it to somebody that can. That'd be awesome. Colored pencils work on the tracing paper, and those would not buckle. So maybe just include, I don't know, that could be fun. There goes the FedEx guy. I thought it was mailman. Sorry, got distracted. All right, so paper size, we're going to try to stay in the 8.5 by 11, which I had over here. But if you have the doilies or stuff that, like Barb said, if you have a doily and it's going to be too long, like this one would be huge inside my 8.5 by 11. It's going to stick out all over the place. So this one might not be a good one for this swap. But if I had the oval one that I had earlier, my round ones might not work either because they're big. But say you had this one, but you want to keep it inside the book, you could kind of line that up, fold this over to include it in, and then you could just take and fold this back in as a little flap. So your book would be like this, and then when you open to that page, then you could open this up again, and I'm off the screen. All right, rounding the corners or leaving them pointy. What's the majority say? What what would y'all like to see with that? Do we want to take the time with our corner rounder and round all the corners, or just leave them square? Oh, Lisa, that's right. Okay. So let me get that one back in my hand. Lisa is so right. You could take this one and fold this up. And make a pocket. All right. So if we folded this around and we had a pocket this way, I probably folded it too small, but you guys will get the point. All right. So now you've got this, but then what you could do is you could fold this around, and you could leave this flat, just get it folded so it'll go in the mailer, and then when whoever gets it decides what to do. Then if you folded these back on either side and maybe just attached them at the bottom, these could be a little tuck spot too. Barb says just leave them, no corner rounder. It's looking like everybody's saying just leave them pointy. I guess once you receive them, if you wanted to round them, you could round them. We could just leave them just to make it the easiest way to create. So yeah, that's a great idea. All right. So if you have something larger, go ahead and send it. Larger pieces are okay because people can turn them into pockets and stuff. So larger doilies and such, also okay. So if you wanted to do that, that'd be awesome. So I'm going to print these up, and I will probably include, until I run out of doilies, I will send it, at least one in each envelope I mail out. And then whoever gets them, y'all can decide how you want to use them. Does that sound good? That way we can use some of this other stuff we have on hand, and other people can utilize them in new ways, and we'll learn from each other. That's a great idea. Lisa, thank you. It's a great idea. So for the general paper, 8.5 by 11, but if you have something that's larger, go for it. You don't want to get too crazy large. Like if you were using an old map, I would suggest maybe cutting it into 4s. So you have 4 large pieces. I think that's probably about as big as we want to get, is about a 1/4 of a big map. Need a printing video after this video? We can get together and print. We might have, maybe we could, let's see, tomorrow's the last Wednesday in July. We're supposed to do our paper bag page. We could knock the paper bag page till August 1st. We might do that. And then maybe tomorrow night we'll just do Painty papers. I was going to do a pick 10 tomorrow night because I found the cards that y'all made for me in that challenge I did for prompt cards a year or so ago, maybe 2 years now. I don't know. It was a while ago, and I misplaced them, and I found them last night. Yay. All right. Now, that goes over papers and stuff. I made notes because I knew I'd go rogue. I had at first thought, and Rose, can a 6 by 9 fit in your mail slot okay? Because yes, Mitzi, I'm at my threshold. I said 130 members in my group, and the reason I did that is for my own sanity. But Lisa at My Eclectic Life, she's going to do like a sister swap and do the same swap in her group. She might have a few additional, or she might go about it a little bit differently. But if you join Lisa at My Eclectic Life's group, she's also going to run a Painty paper swap too. Okay, 6x9 will work for Rose as well. So if you already have Rose's address, we can be sneaky and include Rose in this. Hi, Mark. I had originally thought Rose would need us to mail in a number 10, but now I'm finding out 6x9 works, and this 6x9 size is absolutely perfect because when you fold your 8.5 by 11, it fits perfectly in a 6x9, and it won't cost you a lot. With us including larger pieces of paper, like the doilies and stuff, they're probably going to have to be folded a little weird to fit in. Like this oval one, let's see. It might just fit, or I might have to fold over. The rectangles I'll actually have to fold in force. And hopefully they won't get too flattened before they get to the recipients. The ledger paper, I'm going to rip my ledger paper in half because it's from one of those great big books. But this is the kind of stuff I find at the thrift store all the time for like less than $2. And I didn't go to the thrift store yet today. And usually Tuesdays I go because 55 and older get 25% off. But my problem is my 55 and older is now gone to work. So, and I'm 54. And some of them will just go ahead and give it to me. Other ones ask. And I'm not going to fib, so I don't let them give me the discount unless they just give me the discount. That's like fibbing in a reverse way, I guess. But I like the discount. I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to include like this. This would fit within your width, but when you fold it in half, you'd have a really short page in there. But I don't know if we want to go any smaller than 8.5 by 11. What do y'all think? Do we want to stay 8.5 by 11 and larger? Okay, Lisa said she just posted in her group for people that want to make comments and for ideas for the Painty paper swap. On my group, it's going to be a rack swap. So if you're in my group and you've added your address or had me add your address, people could probably start already sending you Painty papers because I know Kendra said she's already mailed some out. I think we're going to wrap this up, this whole thing, the last 2 weeks of August. That'll be when I was expecting everybody to do the mailing. But if you want to go ahead and mail now, feel free to. It's not an absolute rule, but let's try to say wrapped up by the end of August as far as mailing. And then maybe we can do something else, like an artist trading card swap, which I would love to do. Tanya made the coolest little coin album. It's round and it's an accordion and you can just open it up. So that's Tanya McGuire. If you want to check out her channel for the artist trading coins, those would be so much fun. Now, the ones that I have made, I made them with what I had available. Let me grab them real quick. These are the ones I made. And I could include a coin with some of my swaps with my Painty papers. I said no extras, but one little coin's not going to be a big deal. I just don't want, I want everybody to be able to do as many as they want to do. And if we all stay within the eight paper max with not a lot of extras, the cost will be kept down. I think the general rule for artist trading coins is 2.5-inch circle. Is that not right, you guys? But I know mine are not 2.5 inches. I think mine are 2 inches. Let me get my ruler. Yeah, mine are just 2 inches because that's the punch I have. So 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches is the normal size. I would suggest if you don't have a punch that size, I have a really old-timey Creative Memories. Remember the Creative Memories? You got like a glass piece of tile, and then that thing, you set it down, and then you have to draw around. I have that thing. So I could do that, but you could also like search in your cupboard and see if you have a glass. Like, let me see. This glass I have out here is almost 2.5 inches around. So you can see mine's quite a bit smaller than that I'd already made. So I wouldn't want to do these as a artist trading coin swap. These would be just a little embellishment. I would call them an embellishment instead of an artist trading coin. I had the larger 2.5 inch punch, and I got it from Michael's, and it was the store brand, and it failed right away. And I think that's what Mary has as well. I don't know if anybody else has had any trouble with that punch, but I had nothing but trouble with it, and I had it for a while, so I didn't have the receipt, so I just threw it in the trash. Yeah, just search your cabinets. Certainly we have something in our cabinets that's 2.5 inches, and then just draw a circle around it with a pencil, just like we did in grade school. All right, so back to our Painty paper swap. 6 to 8 pieces. We decided if you want to do double-sided, do double-sided. If you want to do Painty paper on one side and add borders on the back, you can. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just add journaling spots with my Post-its and repaint the backs. So everywhere that I don't stick a Post-it will be a Painty paper bit. And I might even mix up the different sized Post-its since I have them, and do some printing on the backs of these. Six to 8. Yes, so you can do either. If you want to do just 6, do 6. You need to do, let's see, let's word it as this, because I want this to be a friendship, just giving from the heart. No expectations of anything in return. You're just giving from the heart to friends. If you do the 6, that'll be that much lighter in weight. So maybe a 50-cent stamp would do it. Kendra has mailed some out already. Kendra, about how much was your postage? Did you, or was it Danny? Who mailed out already? And if the senior discount, they just look at me and give it to me because my hair is Snow White. Okay, Janet says 6 pages will be 1 stamp, and you will probably have to pay a little bit more if you add on 2 more sheets. I was aiming for the last 2 weeks of August to be when we just, bombarded the mail department with Painty paper. But Kendra mailed out some already, and she said her husband took them, and it was only 1 stamp. But I would like us to just wrap up the mailing of the Painty papers by August 31st. How does that sound? You can mail anytime between now and then. Lori, no, we're talking about Goodwill. Goodwill on Tuesdays. If you're 55 and older, you get a 25% discount on everything. I mailed a 6x9 envelope today to Atlanta. It was just one. It was a bill for insurance that came here for my sister-in-law, and it only cost me 50-cent stamp. It really depends on the weight. I think the weight max for 50 cents is 2 ounces. Is that right? I might do a little research on the USPS website and find out what our weight limit is. If you have diet scales, you could always weigh your envelopes at home and see if the post office ripping you off too. So 2 ounces and more, it would give you, no, 50 cents is for 1 ounce. Okay, thank you, Tanya. That's what I was wondering about. So I think a lot of it will have to do with how much paint you've added to your paper. So it might be, if you want to stick with trying to get in on that 50-cent stamp, you might have to do 6 sheets instead of 8. Just saying. Thank you, Tanya. So I'm going to write that on here. 1 ounce is 50-cent stamp. 2 ounces, you'll be paying 71 cents. So if you go to the dollar store, or you actually get a better deal if you go to Walmart and get the brown envelope. What did I do with it? The 6x9. You can get a bunch of these at Walmart for just a few dollars. And I just get them to have them on hand because this is the perfect size for me for swaps and things like that. I would imagine if we decorate our envelopes, that's going to add weight too. So maybe for this swap, since we're going to have so much color inside the envelope, what if we just stenciled something on here on our envelopes, like maybe just stencil a butterfly or put a sticker on or something like that instead of painting the whole envelope? And that'll save us time too, because I want us to put the time in the paper. Does that make sense? Or draw, like Lisa says, or just draw something on here. That'd be fine too. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy's going to weigh some and put her results on the group. Yes, Laura, you're right. It's a lot of factors play into whether you're 1 ounce or 2 ounces. And it really doesn't take much to bump you into the next I don't know, the next range, I guess. Do stamped tissue paper count as painty paper? I would generally say yes, but if I want it to be something that can be sewn into a book. So if the weight of the tissue paper would hold up to being sewn into a journal, I'd say go for it. We just don't want something that's going to pull apart with use in a book. Oh, okay. All right, Rose. I know Mark is wanting to get in on the pick 10s that Lisa does and I do and Mary does. They are so much fun. Lisa does Monday nights. I do Wednesday nights, and I don't always do the pick 10. I mix it up. Occasionally we'll do that. Sometimes we won't. And then Mary will redo either my Dirty Dozen, which I'm doing to make the cards up that I want to have on hand. I want to have thank you cards on hand so that I can quit being a slacker and have a thank you ready for people. And then Mary will redo either my Dirty Dozen or Lisa's Pick 10 on Friday night. So I know Mark is wanting to get in on that, and he does not have a lot of the things that we do as far as different products and stuff. Of course, when we run into a prompt for me, if I don't have something Lisa draws, I think about what I do have that I can substitute. So you can always substitute. But he has put his address up in the group saying he would love some happy mail for things that are used in the Pick Tens, you know. Tasha says she's the queen of substitution. Hey, you know, you got to use what you got, and you don't have to go out and buy everything. That's for sure. The only reason I have so much is, you guys, I worked for Joanne Fabrics and Crafts for 6 years. I worked for Michael's for 5 years. So I've got 11 years worth of supplies that I bought with employee discounts. Hello. And I would only buy things on sale. And I loved it when they let us use our employee discount on sale items. Joann's would never let us do that, but Michael's did at Christmas. It was wonderful. And but I thought it would be fun to pop a few things in an envelope and send them to Mark, just to give him a little expanse. I know he was coloring a lot. I haven't watched what he's up to lately. It's so hard to keep track and up with everybody that I'm following. Yes, and thrifting. Since I'm not working now, the thrifting, I find stamps and I just find so much stuff thrifting. It's just crazy. Like all of those inks I found for like $3, a whole great big bag of ink. I couldn't believe it. So thrifting just is amazing. In fact, I'm tempted to go thrifting today, and whatever I find, I'll just pop in a box and surprise Mark. He's probably listening, but that's okay. I think it's just Mark Muir. Mark, are you still in here? Can you verify your YouTube channel if you are? That would be fun, is if I could thrift some fun stuff. Or Dollar Tree some household printable items. Yes, yard sales are awesome too. Oh, thanks, Janet. Okay, so I've gone over, use a 6x9 envelope if you can, because that's the easiest to fold. You can paint your papers up any old way you want to. You can add journaling spots. You can add borders to the backs of them if you don't want to do the full page of Painty paper. Like I said, I'm going to do like Mary and make a scribble journal. So I'm going to have some places to journal. So when I do mine, and I hope that's okay with everybody. And I'm going to include, until I run out, I will include some of these doilies, but I'm going to paint them before I send them. So they'll be painted up. There, Lisa at My Eclectic Life says it's Art Exploration with Mark Muir. Okay, and bless him, he comes to Lisa's and mine and Mary's shows, and he's like, I want to play too, but I don't have all the stuff. But like we said, you don't have to have all the stuff. You can substitute. Okay, let's go over something else. We're calling it Painty Papers. Lori asked about stamping. Now, when I do Painty Papers, sometimes I'll go back and stamp on top of them too. Like take this and then just stamp a black outline flower all over it. That is gorgeous. Or create a border where it didn't quite get paint. Stamp something around. Mary has made so many beautiful stamps out of erasers. She's carved them herself. She could use one of those and make a border around some of these. And, you know, that would be fun. Spray inks work. I know Mary uses the, what are they? I can't remember what the inks. Mary got them on sale at Hobby Lobby. I want to say Dina Wakely. Is that right? Lisa, get you going, Mitzi. I know Lisa. She won't She won't drop anything. She'll get you going. Dr. Foe. Okay, I know that she's used those, and that would be pretty to do on some of your paper too. And it would be light enough. And Mary said you can write over that easy. So if you wanted to put ink on the back, paint on the front, that would be fine. Just make sure, you know, the paint is dry before you add the ink to the back. Mark has posted his address on the group page. And at least I think it was your group he posted in. Yeah, he posted in Lisa's group. But I'm just thinking, you know, some fun things I find at the thrift store. Throw them in a flat rate box and mail them to Mark so he has some things to play with. If you go into like Dollar Tree, those little round coaster things, you know what I'm talking about? Some of them have, they look like honeycomb, the trivets or whatever they are. Those would be fun to just go. And if you wanted to keep part of it, cut it in half because you only need a little piece to use as a stamp. Household items used as stamps are fun as all get out. That's another thing you could do on your Painty papers. You could go back in and stamp with household or recycled items. Your empty tape roll, your toilet paper roll. Toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls can be bent and folded into different shapes. You can make a heart out of a paper towel roll just by pushing one side in and pointing down the bottom. And then you've got a heart stamp you can go over stuff with. So get as creative as you want. Janet's done some absolutely amazing Painty papers that she's been posting. So like, look here. Like on this one, that's one of those silicone things. What are they called? They're a silicone hot pad or hot plate. That's what I made those with. And that's just putting some paint on. And there I did it on that one too. It just adds some different things. This is the jar gripper to open a jar. You use that, you get these cool dots. You can also just use your brayer and spread paint out on your glass mat and then just brayer color in rectangles. That's what I did on this one. So you can use it as your cleanup paper, or you can just go crazy with your brayer and just brayer paper into color blocking. I love to do that. See, like this is color blocking. And you can do that just with a brayer. Now this is a hard brayer. There's no give to it. It's a hard brayer. And this is a soft brayer. Somebody was asking me, what's the difference? This one has no foam on it. This one does. This is the one that works best on your jelly plate. At least for me, I have found that this one works the best. Hi, Nikki. So that's all I was going to go over, I think. We're going to use a 6x9 envelope, 6 to 8 pieces of our Painty paper, done up any way we want to. Oh, the other thing you can print on is some ugly scrapbook paper. If you've got ugly scrapbook paper, I've got this box. It's just nothing but. See, I could print on the back side of this and leave the fun circles to put in the journal, and then they could journal in the circles. So you could do that. See, I bought this for 10 cents a sheet when I was still working at Red Stickers. That was Joann's. So yeah, use your ugly papers up. I mean, we all got some. Look at this one. And you can write on these. You just won't be able to see as well. This one you could write on and see and paint the back. Oh, Laura, you're going to have so much fun. But like I said, Nikki, we're doing a swap in my Facebook group, but unfortunately I'm at my membership max. But Lisa at My Eclectic Life, she's going to do one as well, and she still has room in her group. So if you wanted to join Lisa's group and jump in on the fun, you could. But we're just doing a Painty paper. On my group, it's a rack swap or a rack exchange, where we just going to mail Painty papers out to random people that said they're interested, with no expectations of getting any in return. But I know my group, I know my folks, I know y'all, you won't let each other down. So if you get some, it'd be nice if you reciprocated. And I think we're going to have a ton of fun. Yeah, there's something else I have not used yet that Barb Owen got me in trouble because she was at that art expo thing, and she visited the Joggles booth, and I saw these when Barb was there, and I ordered them, and I haven't even used them yet. So these I have to use because Barb got me hooked on these. And these are to use with your jelly plate. So I think these would be fun to add on. These would make great borders because I could put this down, lift it off, print on a paper, and then pick up the rest of the paint and have a border with the paint in the middle. These, I'm going to play with these. I'm going to leave these out. And these were not that expensive really for what you're getting. And the lady pointed out, you can also, with these, put your ink on and you can go around a rounded surface. That's what sold me on these, that you could print on something like that. I thought, how cool would these be on a pumpkin at Halloween? But anyway, okay, guys, I think I'll wrap this one up because I didn't want it to be too long in case somebody, and we're already at an hour, and I just basically wanted to go over what we're going to do. I don't know who's available to come back on and maybe do Painty papers together. Do y'all want to do that in like an hour? Come back. I don't have a pumpkin available, Lori, at this moment, but maybe if I can remember, I can do that. Do that at closer to Halloween. So I'm going to take a break here and maybe see if I can find something, round up something to munch on. And I'll come back at about 4:30. Okay. So I'll come back at 4:30 and I will look forward to seeing whoever's available. Put it that way. And we will just play and make Painty papers for a couple hours. And y'all have a good hour. And I will see you after a bit. Bye-bye.